Hi everybody, Jane here, and today I'm doing my February 2019 TBR. And I'm really excited because I have a lot of good books on my TBR, including ones that go with my goal list for the year. So my goals this year were to every month read a Kindle book off of my Kindle because I have a lot of indie books and a lot of books that I've gotten from being a member of Amazon Prime and stuff. And I don't read a ton on my Kindle, and I need to start because I have like a ton of books on there, and they're just going to waste, not getting read. My second goal was to read a book from my shelf every month. I get a lot of books from the library because I'm a bit of a mood reader, and I have tons and tons of books on my shelves, but I just never seem to be in the mood for them. So I'm making a goal this year to start reading books, particularly so that I can kind of unhaul them. I don't usually feel the need to keep a lot of books after I've read them, so I feel pretty confident that I'll be able to just unhaul at least 12 books this year, and I'd like it to be more. But 12 is kind of a minimum. The other goal I had is I want to read 100 books by the end of the year, and that means about 2 a week. And so I picked out 8 books to read this month, and they complete my goals. If I can get them read, it'll complete my goals. So I'm really excited to be doing this and to have this TBR. I'm a little nervous because it seems a little bit big. And then one book on my TBR, I don't know yet what it is. We're going to find that out together. So basically, I've been involved in a lot of Goodreads giveaways and library theme giveaways, and I've won 4 or 5 books, but only one's arrived yet. So I don't know which one it is, but it's going on my TBR, and I think I'm going to try to make that a part of my TBR too, is to do like unboxing as part of my TBR, so I have at least one surprise book, and we'll see how that goes. So anyway, without further ado, because I've already talked too much, let's talk about books on my TBR. For my Kindle read, I'm going to be reading We Were Mothers by Katie Sissy. And this cover doesn't really show up on the Kindle, and I checked on my phone and it doesn't show up any better on there, so I will try to put a still in so you can see how pretty the actual cover is. But anyway, I don't know a ton about this. I know I assume it's a domestic thriller. The synopsis said something about there being 2 women, and the one woman's child goes missing, and the husband has a secret, and sounds interesting. I don't read a ton of thrillers, but it is something I want to get more into. I generally like them. I like the genre. It's just not, for whatever reason, my go-to. But again, this year especially, I want to amp it up and read more thrillers and read more stuff that's just a little outside of my typical read. Okay, so then this is the book from my shelf. That's the next one on the list, which is Match Me If You Can by Susan Elizabeth Phillips. And this follows a woman named Annabelle who becomes a matchmaker. And as far as I can tell, she falls in love with one of her clients. And so it's a cutesy contemporary romance. And this has been on my shelf for a while. I have no idea when I got this or how I received it. It could have even been years ago from a Goodreads giveaway. Not sure. But whatever it is, I know it's been sitting on my shelf for at least 5 years probably. So it's time to read this. I assume 5 years. Watch it not have been printed by then. Let's find out. Oh yeah, it was printed in 2005. It's probably been there for 5 years. So yeah, so I'm excited to read this. And we'll see how it goes. And then hopefully I will be able to pass it on to my bestie who loves romance novels. All right, so the next 2 books are by the same author. And the author is Christina Lauren. Now, they're 2 very different books. One is a horror and one is a romance. And sorry about the glare, by the way, guys. Let's start with this one, The House. I didn't know that Christina Lauren did like horror, and this is labeled as a horror. I don't know very much about it. I assume it's a ghost story. The synopsis in the book is kind of vague. So I'm going into it assuming it's a ghost story, maybe with some romantic elements, but I'm really psyched. And then this one, Roomies. I'm really looking forward to this. This is the only other romance on my TBR this month, I think, unless there's a romance in the envelope. So last year in 2018, I read Autobiography, and that was a 5-star read for me, and I was really blown away by it, and I really loved it. So I'm trying to read some more Christina Lauren and see if it was like that book that I loved, or if I like her just love her as an author. And this book seems really up my alley. I actually got like all of her books from the library, and then it took a while to decide what to read next. But this one is the one that like the blurb most spoke to me. And this is a marriage of convenience plot, which is one of the plots I really, really love in romance. It's like probably my top favorite. Well, that and Surprise Baby. Those are probably my 2 top favorite tropes in romance. So this book follows Holland Baker, who is apparently a girl. That's a kind of weird name for a girl. And she falls in love with this musician, but he's in the country illegally, and so she marries him so that he can get a visa, I think. And of course it's supposed to be a marriage of convenience just for his visa, but they fall in love. So basically everything I love about, romance. All right, the next 2 I have are sequels to books that I read in January. My January wrap-up probably hasn't come out by the time this video's up. I haven't even thought about filming that yet. I've still got 2 more books to read in January. I'm filming this right about like the week before the end of January. So not ready to film my wrap-up quite yet, but I read 2 really great books and I do want to continue on the series. The first book is Mr. Limoncello's Library Olympics. So I don't know much about this book, but I can tell you about the first book. Mr. Limoncello is a game maker, and he grew up in a small Ohio town. I live in Ohio, so love that. And he loved his library growing up. Well, they had to demolish the library, and the town didn't have a library for 12 years. So finally, they get the library back, and he throws this big event to celebrate the reopening of the library and to get the kids in the community interested in the library. And he creates like all these games, and he has a lock-in in the first book so that the kids have to like figure out the game to get out of the library. And it's kind of Willy Wonka-ish, but not like the magic. So it's not like fantastic so much as just fun and games. So these kids have to figure out how to get out of the library. And if they get out of the library first, they win this really great prize, which is basically to be the marketing spokesperson face of Mr. Limoncello's games. And that's, a really big deal, and there's probably some money involved. So fame, money, all the things kids love. And so this is the second book, and I don't know if it's the same kids, if they did something different, I don't know, but I really, really love the first book. I was really invested, and I'm excited to find out what happens. All right, the next book, as I said, is also a sequel, and it is Scarlet, the second book in the Lunar Chronicles. So it's really hard not to spoil the first book by talking about it, so I'll just be brief. The first book was a retelling of Cinderella, and I'm assuming this one is a retelling of Red Riding Hood. In Cinder is a cyborg, and she is a mechanic, and she meets the prince, and they kind of have a thing, and then the ball happens, and some craziness happens at the ball that I can't tell you about or it'll spoil the story, but I am assuming this takes place shortly after the events of the ball, because Cinder kind of ended on a cliffhanger, and I was like, wait a second, you can't do that. And I was actually kind of worried that Scarlet would not pick up where Cinder left off, but looking at the back blurb, it looks like it does. So, I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm ready to continue with seeing what happens to Cinder. Really excited about this one. All right, the next book on my TBR, honestly, I just picked because, February is kind of a short month, and I've got quite a few fairly hefty reads I'm a little nervous if I'm going to get through my TBR. And this is a book that I've been meaning to get to. It was on my December TBR, I think. And I just didn't. I meant to read it with my kids, and it didn't happen. And that is Matilda by Ronald Dahl. And he is the one that wrote, I believe, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. And that's one I haven't read, but I plan to. It's also on my TBR. So Matilda, to my understanding, is about a little girl who loves books. And she's got a mean teacher who maybe wants to keep her from books. I'm not really sure. But it's a book about books, I think. Lots of books on the cover. So I'm sure I've seen the movie before, but it's been a long time. So I'm excited to read this. I've heard it's really good and really cute. And it's a short, middle grade read. So I think with some of the bigger books that I have on my TBR, I'm ready for this. For like something short, something light, kind of break up the rest of the stuff I have. All right, now the fun thing. This is my package from Amazon, and I don't know what's in it. Like I said, I won several giveaways from Goodreads and Library Thing recently, and they are going to take priority on my TBRs because, authors list those because they're really looking for reviews and stuff. So we'll see what's in this. I have an inkling, but I'm not 100% sure. But if it's what I think it is, I'm really excited. So we will see. All right, reaching in and pulling it out. And it is, not the one I was expecting, but still, I'm excited about it. Einstein's Beach House. And this, I believe, is a collection of short stories. And I think this is crazy what got me. The first line on the synopsis is, a couple adopts a depressed hedgehog. And my one daughter is freaking obsessed with hedgehogs. And so I was like, I don't know what it is, but I kind of want to read it. So this is by Jacob M. Appel. And it was not the book that I thought it was, but I'm still excited to read it. And I'm going to prioritize reading it so that I can get a review out for the writer and for the community. And I appreciate that the author or the publishing company sent this to me. So thank you so much. It's going to happen this month. This is a priority read. It will probably be on the top of my TBR or pretty darn close. All right, guys, what books are you planning to read this month? Of those, have you read them? Did you love them? I want to hear all about it. My social media is down there, as is the like and subscribe button. Feel free to click and get more content later. I look forward to hearing from you and talking with you more about books later. Bye.